Cool. And hey everyone, we are officially live. Welcome to analysis number 57. I'm James Preston.
And I'm Graham Tennant.
And in this edition, we're going to have a look at Ethereum because of its all-time high reached today officially. And a couple of people requesting to look at a couple of other altcoins. So we may look at DOT as well. Graham Tennant going to take us through his analysis and the overall health of the markets. Of course, a sponsor this week. As usual, we get a sponsor in to look after us at Global Crypto. And this week, it is once again Haven Global. You can check out havenglobal.com, HAYVNglobal.com. The link is in the description. And they offer remarkable OTC trading. For those of you that want more personalized OTC experience, if you are a high net worth investor or you know high net worth investors and traders, I'd encourage you to check out havenglobal.com, where you can trade Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're a great team based in Dubai, Australia, and New York as well. So thanks to havenglobal.com for sponsoring this edition. Now, Graham, let's make you the host and take you straight into the charts for today. What are you going to start with?
Well, yeah, thanks for the memo, James. I didn't know we were going to be covering Ethereum.
Come on.
We've gone to new highs in Ethereum, so Ethereum's definitely stealing the limelight. But let's start with the old dog. Let's start with Bitcoin. So yeah, Bitcoin's winding up quite nicely. That's a view of the long-term 3-day chart, and we've been going sideways for a little bit of time now. But on the whole, I mean, I'm still very bullish. I mean, last week we looked at this and we thought it may be a head and shoulders developing. So this is just I'm drawing utensils out here. So this was the left shoulder that we identified. There's the head. And then this looked like a right shoulder that may have been developing. So that's your neckline. Oops. Let's get a little bit straighter than that. If we had a neckline that kind of took place and did something like that, we could have been looking at a bearish situation, okay, if we had broken that neckline to the downside. But as you know, we recovered after this fairly mild sell-off, and this right shoulder got larger and larger. That's, you know, that bearish scenario became less and less likely. So, you know, now we have moved sideways for a little bit of time, but yeah, it looks like we're heading, you know, building up a head of steam for the next move to the upside. So, and I think, yeah, we definitely, well, we said last week that, you know, when Bitcoin moves sideways, that gives your alts a bit of a chance to have a go, and we've definitely seen that. And it's, you know, kicked off some of the most bullish altcoin action we've seen so far, and you know, since December last year, when the Bitcoin bull run started moving, really moving strongly. So yeah, keen to jump into some of the altcoins and have a look at them in a bit more detail. But don't forget about, you know, Bitcoin. I think it's a nice time to start accumulating. Well, not start accumulating, but add to your position. Or you know, if you don't have a Bitcoin holding, to think about entering some long-term Bitcoin holding positions, because I think we are looking fairly bullish. I've removed my put positions, so I held puts for a little bit of time when I was concerned about the sell-off. I've now removed those. So yeah, definitely, you know, feeling more bullish about this market. You know, the further we move sideways, contract, and I think we see further contraction and potentially getting an upside break of the symmetrical triangle as it falls out further.
All right, so I see that the charts that you have open are DOT. Do you want to take us to DOT as we analyze some of the altcoins, or start with Ethereum, the king of altcoins?
Let's start with Ethereum. I mean, this is the one that's really stealing the headlines. I mean, DOT and a few others have done really well, but you know, today Ethereum did just touch, just move slightly past this all-time high on most exchanges, as far as I know. So yeah, 2017, the all-time high. If I look at the chart here, we got to 1420, you know, and today we reached a high of 1440 on Bitstamp. So yeah, a historic day for Ethereum, and yeah, I still think that it's got more to go. So let's just drill down into a slightly lower time frame here. And we can see that, but Ethereum has just been more impatient than Bitcoin. So it looked like it wanted to set up also a symmetrical triangle structure, but yeah, it just it heard the start gun go off a little bit earlier, and it's straight out the blocks, and it's broken to the upside. We saw quite a bit of contraction here over the last couple of days, and yeah, a nice move to the upside, and I think we continue going from here. I mean, potentially we do get a little bit of a pullback, maybe to test this recent resistance area now that we've broken through. Maybe Bitcoin has a little bit of a surge, and that takes some of the the flows away from Ethereum. But over the next medium term, I'm really bullish on Ethereum, and I think it starts to take some serious market cap away from Bitcoin. And this is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So here we can see Ethereum in Bitcoin terms, and we can see the last couple. Well, this is a 3-day chart, but we can see the last 6 days or so, Ethereum really running hard. We're running into some serious resistance here, and this is an area where it's battled to break through. So let's call it 0.04. If we can clear that versus Bitcoin, and then it's got some open space to run, and I think it really can go hard. Another thing to point out here is that we're seeing an inverse head and shoulders. So there's your left shoulder, head, and small right shoulder. So again, that's really powerful accumulation action that we're seeing here. So this is potentially your resistance zone in this area that we're really challenging now. We're starting to stick our nose through that. Potentially we get, I think likely price action will look something like this. So potentially we get like an impulsive spike above that area, come back to test, and then I think we carry on going. And I think there's plenty more upside on this chart. So if we do a classic measurement to target here, if we say that's the base of the head, project that up to the neckline, and project that to the upside, that's the type of move we're looking at. And that looks pretty small because that's a log move, but that's a 50% move potentially of Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which would be massive. And if we bullish Bitcoin and we're more bullish Ethereum on top of that, I think we could see some really strong price action on Ethereum versus the dollar and other fiats.
Yeah, very much looks like it. I mean, for people that want to increase their Bitcoin holdings, that would be a pretty exciting trade. But just general traders as well, because it looks like the Ethereum USD price as well is moving. And I guess it makes sense if Bitcoin's worth $38,000 and all of a sudden it's worth 0.057 of a Bitcoin, then it makes sense that its USD price is going to correlate with that increase in the price of ETH in terms of Bitcoin.
Yeah, 100%. So all along I've said Bitcoin, Ethereum is your higher beta coin. It's your more volatile coin. It's got a smaller, much smaller market. Well, a substantially smaller market cap than Bitcoin. So if you put $1 billion into Bitcoin and $1 billion into Ethereum, obviously Ethereum is just going to move exponentially more, because it just takes that much more volume of buying pressure to move Bitcoin up versus Ethereum being the smaller market cap. So Bitcoin has been the leader. That's where the institutional money has gone. That's where the first allocation goes. But once Bitcoin has now made its strong advance, it's really giving license to some of the altcoins, and Ethereum being obviously your top altcoin to really start making some strong moves. And now, I think now that Bitcoin has made a strong advance, I think Ethereum's going to play some catch up and could really be the star, of this bull run.
And I guess it does become extremely important for traders in this market to watch Bitcoin carefully, because if Bitcoin starts to move, then this ETH-BTC chart becomes a little bit more worrying, because as we know, when Bitcoin moves, the alts at least cool down, may not necessarily sell off. But what are your thoughts there? Should traders rather be looking to trade the USD prices and trading pairs of the altcoins as opposed to the BTC pairs?
Yeah, so I think we touched on this last week. So when it actually comes to trading a position, I'm putting that on against the dollar. So your leverage trading platforms generally all have their highest liquidity pairs being a crypto versus a fiat. I use this Ethereum Bitcoin chart to choose how I allocate my HODL stack between Bitcoin and Ethereum. So now that I'm seeing that Ethereum is potentially going to be more bullish or make better gains than Bitcoin over the medium term, I'm looking to shift some of my Bitcoin holdings to Ethereum. So that's again really what I'm looking to this chart for. When we're actually putting on the trades, it's going to be an Ethereum versus dollar or Ethereum versus ZAR pair, generally speaking.
Okay, and then you talk about the smaller market capitalization of ETH. Of course, even significantly smaller are your other alts, which
Absolutely.
Again, the moment big volumes enter those markets, we see remarkable fluctuations and spikes, which is what we started to see with those alts. And one of the traders on our WhatsApp group actually asked for an analysis of DOT. So what are you seeing on the DOT USD chart?
Yeah. So, I mean, DOT is definitely not a small alt anymore. It's third on the list of market caps. If you take a look at coin market cap, if you also strip Tether out of that scenario, obviously with Ripple having its problems that it's been experiencing, that's contributed to DOT's rise up the rankings. But yeah, I mean, it's quite an incredible performance because it's not even listed on some of the main exchanges. So Coinbase, it's not listed on, and it's only been on Binance and a couple of the other main exchanges for a short period of time. And for it to have done so well is really remarkable. I've been doing a little bit of fundamental digging over the last couple of days on Polkadot. I definitely missed out on its 90% of its move. I have got a little bit now, but not a significant holding. I won't claim to understand most of the fundamental rationale behind it. It seems like there's quite a lot of complexity in their offering. Look, we've got a short-term time frame. Well, I mean, a fairly short period of data to look at, but what we can see is very powerful. We've got this rounding bottom here from the period of September last year to around about the end of December, and then it was really lift-off time. And if we drill down, let's go to a 4-hour time frame, you can see some really nice setups. I had a look at FTX. So they've got a perpetual DOT to USD pair, and there you can get some leverage. So I think this is actually setting up very nicely for a short-term trade. So after this really powerful run that we've had, this looks like continuation, sideways consolidation for me. So we're getting a squeeze of volatility. So I think a trade to the upside here is looking like it's on the cards. So I'll potentially look at that setup in a bit more detail, and I'll share those details on the group potentially this evening, because I think a breakout to the upside here is imminent, and we can get some really nice risk-reward ratio with some leverage on this type of setup. So this is looking bullish short term. So yeah, really liking the look of that on DOT.
And it's interesting that you mentioned FTX. Of course, Binance also offers leverage, but have you got, I'm curious to know, and I know it's a little bit off topic, Graham, but have you got your head around the way Binance have structured their margin and leverage markets?
I've done a little bit of digging. I really don't like it personally. I don't like the way that they've structured their margin and lending trading. I think it's far more complex than what it needs to be. So, I mean, I'm trading on Bybit, FTX. Those are my go-to places for leverage trading at the moment. Deribit is great for options. So those are the three exchanges I'm using for derivatives primarily.
So just to reiterate, I missed that first part. I was reading the comments. Bybit, FTX, and Deribit, you say?
Deribit, yeah, that's it.
And explain to us the difference between an option and a perpetual swap, which I think Bybit uses. Sure, so Deribit, you say, offers options. What's the difference there?
Sure. So the perpetual is, if the easiest thing to compare it to in traditional markets would be a CFD. So there you essentially get a one-to-one exposure to the underlying, but with leverage. So if I buy the perpetual contract, let's say Bitcoin is trading at $10,000, I buy $10,000 worth of contracts. If that goes up, $1, I make $1 on my nominal position. So it's in the background, it's quite complex, but as a front end user, it's a very easy contract or type of trading to start understanding. The only thing that makes it challenging to trade is the leverage. So obviously there's great power and potential that you can access to the leverage, but that comes with higher risk that you need to know how to manage. So that's pretty much your vanilla type of contract with leverage on top. Options are quite a bit of a different animal. Just briefly speaking, an option is a contract that gives you the right to buy or sell the underlying asset at a future date at a specific price. So that might sound like a bit of a mouthful, but I encourage you. There's plenty good online resources on YouTube that will take you through options trading strategy. One of the really unique things about options is that there's a volatility element built into the pricing mechanism, so you can trade just the volatility component of it, which I really enjoy. So if you think that the price is going to move in a volatile manner up or down, you don't have to choose a direction. You just need to make a bet basically that there's going to be some significant price changes, and you can trade on that. Or if you think that we're going into a low volatility period, you can actually go take a short volatility trade with your options positions and actually earn basically profit on a low volatility period. So options just add a very different dynamic to your trading. But I think we'll leave it at that for now. But definitely jump in line, and there's plenty of resources to take you through the options in more detail. And Deribit is the go-to place for Bitcoin and Ethereum options.
It's interesting. I'm glad you highlighted that for us, because I think you summarized the two contrasts very nicely. And it's interesting because Deribit sort of fell off the radar a little bit because Bybit just exploded onto the scene about a year and a half ago. And since then, Bybit's been the go-to place. So it's been interesting. And also to hear that you are looking at FTX for leverage trades with altcoins like DOT is also pretty interesting. So now just a couple of comments. We had, we've got some sound issues. I hope that that sound is okay now, Saurav. But just to go to the comments, Paul Francis, who is a very active trader for us, he's been fantastic on Telegram. He's been sharing a whole bunch of trades and his charts. He actually asked, please make sure you share that DOT trade with us on Telegram. Don't worry, Paul, whatever is shared on WhatsApp, we bring across to Telegram. And by the way, we are sharing your charts, Paul, over on our WhatsApp group as well. So thanks for your charts. Keep them coming. I'm going to come back to ETH, Graham. Abu asks this: when would you move some of your Bitcoin to ETH? Are you waiting for a pullback from ETH first?
So I was on Binance. I've got a Binance account. I like Binance because it allows you to get deep liquidity on a variety of alts, and I found that's pretty much the easiest place to shift your Bitcoin into ETH and vice versa. I did set up some trades to move Ethereum into Bitcoin on a little bit of a pullback, which we haven't got. If we look at this chart. I am honestly, I'm reluctant to chase in right now. I do think we can potentially get a better price on the ETH Bitcoin setup here. So, personally, my orders are set up at around 0.036 on this chart. That's buying Ethereum with Bitcoin. That's personally what I'm looking to do. And even if we do break strongly to the upside, I don't plan on chasing in. Generally, the market gives you a second chance. I think we'll get some kind of correction back to test this resistance turn support. And I think that'll be the ideal area to start, to look to get an entry. These are really strong bullish candles we've got here, and I'm always reluctant to chase really big green candles. So that's how I'm looking to play the scenario right now.
All right. Well, I think that point that you raised there, that the market always gives you a second chance, is really important for people.
Not always.
Yeah.
Usually.
Usually, especially in crypto, because sometimes when the train leaves, it leaves very, very fast. But I think that's important for people to understand. Don't chase the market, and just keep a cool head in times like these. There's going to be a number of opportunities in the coming weeks, I'm sure. Graham, in terms of questions, we did have Paul asking about DOT, but you went straight into DOT. So it was really just Paul and Abu who had questions for us. I'm going to leave it there for questions because we are almost pushing half an hour at the moment. Are there any other charts you want to take us through before we wrap up this week's analysis?
Let's just run through a couple quickly. I mean, I've just selected a couple of charts or a couple of smaller cryptos to have a look at. Just quickly, this is the Bitcoin dominance index, and we can see Bitcoin losing significant market share
which is always a great sign for alt season.
That means that the alts are really running hard. So yeah, look, do you expect a snapback at some stage? But I think if and when we do get a snapback, that could be your chance to allocate to alts, because I do think that this alt run does continue, and Bitcoin does give some market share away. Obviously, if Bitcoin breaks the upside of this triangle, then that will be the one to watch. And then you probably want to get out of alt. So it depends how you want to play this. You don't want to be too active if you're not a skilled trader. What I would suggest is pick a couple alts that you really like, make them small percentage of your portfolio, and just hodl those through this alt season and look to sell at a higher price, a couple of months down the line potentially. If you are more active, then these are the things that you need to be watching. You need to be watching what Bitcoin is doing. You need to be watching what Ethereum is doing. There's a lot, there's a lot of dynamics involved in this, in these setups. But let me just put a couple coins in radar. So this is the shitcoin index that we saw last week as well. This is another way to play this. If you're not concerned or don't have the time to allocate to doing your research on the different smaller projects, this is available on FTX. And you can buy a position here even on leverage if you would like, and that's quite a nice way to get allocation to the smaller alts that are doing exceptionally well. And this this chart's looking really good. That was March, that was the Corona sell-off. Since then it's really been one way. We got one period of correction, and now we're off to the races. So this chart in itself is looking pretty good. Then one or two alts. So SNX synthetics is something that I'm excited about. They're looking to do derivatives in the DeFi space. Look, I mean, there's 100 odd projects that we could look here that all have all done very well. I'm just highlighting one or two that I've been holding for a little bit of time. So SNX is actually a significant part of my portfolio now. I bought a little bit of it a couple months ago, and it's done exceptionally well. But I think it's going to continue outperforming Bitcoin and even Ethereum over this next little bit of time. I mean, this chart just looks ridiculous. If we put it on a log scale, it looks a little bit more respectable. But there you can see, big rounding bottom, and on a log scale, it's looking really, really powerful. So that's SNX. Library is another interesting one. So this is a competitor to YouTube. So they're putting all their video content onto the blockchain. So I really like this as a concept, as a product. The website and the actual product is great. And we're seeing some really nice movements. I got filled at a decent price around about Christmas after the first pump. Put it on my radar, and I think that we're potentially looking to break these highs at the moment and carry on. So that's one to look out for. And then just too quickly, so Uniswap is a favorite in DeFi circles. They offer essentially a decentralized exchange service. It's just done exceptionally well, but short data period here, but looking very strong. And if you like Uniswap, but you think you've missed the boat, in 1inch is one that you can have a look at, because there's really not much to talk about on the chart. But from a fundamental level, 1inch is a competitor well, yeah, to Uniswap in the DeFi space or the decentralized exchanges. So yeah, those are just a couple holes to put on your radar that you can potentially add to if you're looking to take some more speculative positions.
And have you taken a position in the likes of 1inch as well in Uniswap? If I'm not mistaken, those kind of coins aren't available on the likes of FTX. Where would you make moves for those?
Yeah, so I'm holding all of these right now. Library is available on Bittrex. Uniswap, as far as I know, is available on Binance, and so is 1inch. I'll just use KuCoin here and Wobi because they've just got a little bit more track record. So 1inch only just recently came onto Binance, so that's one to potentially look at. And yeah, look, I mean, if you're going to go off the major exchanges and you're going to go into MetaMask and dive into the DeFi space, you're going to be able to pick up some real gems, before they hit the big time, before they get into the big exchanges. But then you really need to go and do some proper due diligence to pick the roses out from the thorns, because it can be pretty thorny.
And what do you do? What do you do for your fundamentals and hearing more about these projects? I'm always surprised every time I speak to you that you have a new project that you've been looking into. Where do you get your information from in terms of hearing about these kind of very obscure projects?
Cool. So yeah, look, I definitely don't do huge amounts of fundamental research. I do find technical analysis is a better use of my time, because you have all the data at your fingertips. But that's not, technical analysis is not going to be useful to pick up the rough diamonds in the DeFi space. Alex Saunders is the main person that I follow for updates in the DeFi space. It has been a challenge. You go into YouTube. That's my main place to get information, and it's difficult to find credible YouTubers to give decent fundamental analysis in the DeFi space. There's a lot of smoke and hot air in the space at the moment, but Alex Saunders is definitely one to check out. He runs Nugget News. I think that's the name of his YouTube channel. Australian guy. We won't hold it against him. But yeah,
especially if you are an Australian cricketer. Sorry for them today.
100%. Historic win for the Indians. I love it.
Absolutely. So
but definitely check out Alex and his channel. He does some really, really good work there. So
that's great. Yeah, Alex has actually been in touch with me about a couple of talks that I've done and wanted to raise some things. And I know he's just been partnering up with Real Vision. So kudos to him, man. He's really taking off. And really he doesn't have a security token we can invest in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Graham, that's fantastic, man. Anything else you want to share before we close?
No, that's it for now. Safe trading out there. Be responsible. These are very exciting times. But yeah, my only suggestion would just be don't throw the kitchen sink at these relatively high levels. I do think that we potentially go higher from here on balance of probability, but do be responsible in your allocation to cryptos in this state.
All right. Well, Graham, thank you so much. It's been a really interesting analysis. It's been a long time since you last went through so many different altcoins. So I've really enjoyed this. Looking forward to seeing what happens next week. What we are going to do, folks, is we are going to share across platforms. So when Graham shares something on our WhatsApp group, we do share it to Telegram, and vice versa. If someone shares a chart on Telegram, we share it across to WhatsApp as well. So don't worry, don't stress. If you aren't part of our groups, our links are in the description below. Check it out. And we'd love to have you on board and following the various analyses of our traders. Big thanks to everyone who gets involved, Saurav and Paul especially. Paul actually just mentioned in the comments there that Nano has broken out. He missed the trade, but it might be one to watch. So if you are keeping an eye on altcoins, Nano is another one as well. Graham, we'll catch you next week. Thanks so much for making the time.
Great. Thanks, James.
Fantastic. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Check us out, globalcrypto.tv. Until next week, don't forget to visit our sponsors. havenglobal.com link is in the description for innovative OTC trading online. Until next time, cheers.
Cheers for now.
Awesome, man.